Continuing coverage on a story that News 10 brought you last month. Where should convicted sex offenders live after prison? The Econo Lodge made news last month when News 10 discovered it had a contract with the state to take in offenders.
Well, that contract was voided, and the Econo Lodge, as many of you know, is temporarily closed. But we found another motel was home to sex offenders. News 10's John Swanner joins us with more. John?
Mike and Patrice, when sex offenders leave prison, it's often they have a hard time finding a place to live. Many cannot live within 1,000 feet of a school, park, or daycare, for example, and that's why Sheriff Greg Ewing says motels like the Econo Lodge and the Statesman Inn work for these offenders. News 10 learned 4 convicted sex offenders lived here this morning, including 2 who are sexually violent predators. Sheriff Ewing says sex offenders are some of the most transient people in society, and motels are popular places for them to live. That's why it's important to check often with the sex offender registry.
The same thing applies to an apartment complex. There are many locations throughout our county that are valid addresses where you do see these offenders pool or congregate.
Sheriff Ewing says this is a nationwide trend, so if you're traveling and plan on stopping at a motel, Sheriff Ewing says every state has a sex offender registry. He says you should be doing you and your family a favor by checking those websites before checking in. Meanwhile, the owner of the Statesman Inn says he's asked all sex offenders to leave his motel immediately. Patrice, back to you.
All right. Thank you, John.